Hello, it's Donna from Taffy Crafting. I've got a card that I made, which I'll be totally honest with you, when I made it, I didn't like it. It's actually growing on me now. I just wanted to do something with some purple colours. I don't tend to use purple all that often. And I got this inspiration from Pinterest from a crafter called Tracy Bradley. And I think she's got a Pinterest account called Stamping with Tracy. And her card was very much like this. She just had a different sentiment in the middle, and she'd used different colours. But this is pretty much the layout that she used, and she had some white card that had been embossed. So I just wanted to just do that. This is part of the 31 Days Craft Challenge that I'm taking part in. So this is losing track, day 6, I think this is. So I just want to show you how I put that together. It's really easy. You can probably see it's just layering, ideal for a beginner card. But it does need some equipment. So if you've got a die cutting machine that also does embossing as well, but if you didn't, you wouldn't necessarily have to do that. You could probably use some very lightly patterned designer series paper, perhaps. It's the world's your oyster as to what you do with that. You can change it up in lots of different ways. But let me show you how I put that together. So I started off, just put that to one side. I started off with a basic card base. So this is Purple Posy. And this has actually come from a 12 by 12 sheet of card, and I've just trimmed that down to, it's 4 1/8 by 11 3/4, and then I just scored it down the long side at 5 7/8, and that gives me my basic card base. If you've been watching my other videos, you'll know that I've mislaid my bone folder, and so I've not got a very good crease on there. So that's my card front. And then I'm going to take a piece of Highland Heather. I think Highland Heather goes really well with Purple Posy. It's just a little bit, just that little bit darker. Purple Posy is, I was going to say it's a bit pinky, but it's not. It's a very light lilac. And then you've got the Highland Heather, which is, between lilac and purple really. And so I've just cut this to 4 inches by 5 3/4 inches. I've got a blog post for this, so you'll be able to, I'll leave the link in the description bar, and you'll be able to follow on to the blog post where there's got all of the measurements. So I just need to glue that down, and I've put the glue down somewhere. There it is. I did have a tidy up before I did this video. Clearly didn't put my glue away properly. So, nor did I store it upside down. So I thought I'd just do a quick video and a quick bit of crafting. I've got some friends coming around this evening for my husband's birthday. He doesn't know they're coming, but he's now decided to go off to work for a couple of hours. So I thought, ideal, I can get another day of this done and get a few days ahead. But he could turn up any minute, so hopefully I'll get this card done before he comes back. So there's our card. It's got the Purple Posy border all the way around it, Highland Heather there, and then I've got a piece of Whisper White. This measures 3 1/8 by, no it doesn't, I can't read my measurements, 3 7/8 by 5, and I cannot read them, 5 5/8. 3 7/8 by 5 5/8, and I've put that through the Big Shot using the Curls and Swirls embossing folder. There it is. Just wanted to show that to you. So that's the Curls and Swirls embossing folder. It's really lovely. I'm really getting into embossing folders. I haven't done before, but I'm well into them now. So I'm just going to, I don't have many embossing folders, but I'm really liking the, what's it called? It's called Tufted something, and it looks like kind of like a quilt effect. That will soon be in my shopping basket, I think. And then I'm just going to put that on. I've got very narrow borders on this, so that's why I'm using wet glue, so that I can just have a little wiggle before I can be absolutely certain that it's in the right spot. So there, we've got that. Now I didn't do the embossing on camera just because once I get the Big Shot out, you can't really see anything. So I've just done that off camera just to prepare for that. So now the main decoration of this now. So I'm using Highland Heather cardstock, and I'm using woven threads. This is a really good scrap busting project. If you don't like to throw away your little bits of DSP that you've used, then this is great for scrap busting. They really are little bits and pieces that we're using here. We've got 2 pieces of Highland Heather. This one measures 2 1/8 by 5 1/8, and then this one measures 1 5/8 by 4 1/8. You don't have to use those, they're merely a guide. You can make them as big or as little as you like, depending on the size of the scrap that you've got. This is just really just a suggestion as to what DSP you might want to use, but you could use anything. So this has to sit, I'm just putting this slightly over like that. It's not got a small border. It's difficult to move on this embossed. So we've got that on there like that, and then I've got 2 pieces of DSP from the Woven Threads suite. I like this because it doesn't matter which way up it goes. So this is 2 inches by 5 inches, and then in another design I've got 1 1/2 inches by 4 inches. And I'm just, oh, that's going to splodge, isn't it? I'm just going to get some glue on those. Now these do sit very tight inside this card, so I need to get this as exact as I can, just so I can see that border. This glue grabs quite quickly. I think I probably could have done a better job of cutting that, but that's what it is now. Can still see that border around there. I think my cutting might have gone a bit wonky there. So we've got that, and then we're going to put this one on. Now the thing about this one is that because we've got this layering here, this is sitting, it's going to be difficult to glue that down and it not trying to come unstuck. So what I'm going to do with that is just put 3 mini dimensionals down that side. So if we take those off like that, and then what I'm going to do is, if that wants to come off, thank you, is just put some glue. Does anybody else talk to their craft supplies like that? Talk to my scissors, talk to my glue. And again, no hard and fast rule as to where you're going to put this. I'm just aiming for kind of the middle. So this is going to be in the middle of that, and this is in the middle of that, but it really doesn't matter. If you give this to somebody, is anybody going to measure it? I doubt it. I put that on the wrong side. It's on now. I've put that on the wrong way. The dimensional should have been on that way. Yeah, and there you can see it's trying to, right, got to rectify that. It works perfectly well when you're not on camera. And then as soon as the camera starts rolling, oh no, now we want to muck about. So what I'm going to do is just get that dimensional. These dimensionals are so sticky. We'll just get one there, and we'll put one at the bottom there and see if we can get one in the side. There's always a solution. Sometimes the ultimate solution is chucking the whole blooming thing in the bin, but I can't stand waste. And let's see if I can keep my cool with these dimensionals. Right, one more, let's try and get that in the middle. I think I might have saved this without getting covered in glue. Oh, that needs to go there. Get off my finger, thank you. Right, there we are. Saved it. And then there's my squeaky chair again, and I'm just going to put some DSP just in the middle of that panel. Come on. And then we'll put that just in there. Cut that piece of card a little bit better than the first one. going to leave that because that glue's trying to wiggle a bit. There we are. So for our sentiment, I've used the Dandelion Wishes stamp set, which I've got around here somewhere to show you. So I did have a tidy up before I started this. There we are, there's Dandelion Wishes, which I've borrowed from a fellow crafter. And I'm going to use this sentiment, sending well wishes your way. And I'm going to use Highland Heather ink for that. Which again I've put over here. One of these days I will start being a tidy crafter. Don't know if any else of you are tidy crafters. So I've got a piece of scrap Highland Heather and I'm going to get my 2 1/4 inch circle punch. And I want that to sit on there like that. Now that is definitely now higher up and I'm going to use dimensionals for that. I didn't in the original one. That's because I hadn't made a total faux pas and put the dimensionals on the wrong way. And then you want, well, I'm trying to get these off, a scrap of white, Whisper white cardstock. Honestly, if I wasn't on camera, I'd be swearing at these by now. And I'm going to just not think too much about that and just plonk that in the middle. Let's just put that to one side. Let's deal with our sentiment. So I've got a piece of Whisper white cardstock. I've got my Highland Heather ink. Now I would have used Purple Posy, but don't try and look for Purple Posy online. We are no longer stocking it. But Highland Heather, albeit darker, is a nice substitute. And then I'm going to get my 2 inch punch. There it is. And just slide that through there. Hope that fit. Yep, that's just wide enough. And punch that out. Now before I put that onto my Highland Heather circle, I just want to decorate it with a few rhinestones. I love these. I've always got 2 or 3 packs of these just because it's, although I don't know how to get into them. Oh, it's not my day today. It just makes a pretty project just that little bit prettier. And I'm just going to put a couple of those on there like that. That's all we need on that. And then a couple more dimensionals. Let's put the boat out. Let's do 4. And that's just going to be the final thing to go onto that card. Like that. And there you have it. So I've got 2 of those now. When you've got a sentiment like sending well wishes your way, you can use that for anything, whether it be somebody who's maybe leaving work or they are not very well, or they're just having a hard time. You know, you can send that, you can use that card for any type of occasion. So I hope you've liked that. I've kind of gone out of my comfort zone using colours that I wouldn't normally put together. And that's a couple of times this week I've done that. So please come and give my channel a subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again with day 7 of the 31 Days Craft Challenge. I'll see you then. Bye bye.